The moment Elena Price stepped into the first-class cabin of the transatlantic flight bound for Zurich, she exhaled softly, hoping to finally find the stillness she'd earned after weeks of nonstop work. Wearing a charcoal blazer, her hair pulled back in a neat low bun, and carrying nothing more than a slim leather satchel, Elena was the very picture of quiet confidence. There were no designer logos screaming for attention, no entourage trailing behind her. Just her presence, unassuming yet unmistakably powerful. She found her seat, Seat 1A, a luxury pod at the front of the aircraft, and placed her bag gently in the storage compartment beside her. The private suite was more than a seat. It was a cocoon of solitude and privilege. With ambient lighting, a full reclined bed, and noise-canceling partitions, it was a space designed for the few who didn't just travel, but traveled with purpose. Elena didn't seek attention, but life had made it hard for her to go unnoticed. As the founder and CEO of one of the fastest-growing AI companies in the world, she had been named one of Forbes' top 50 innovators of the decade. Her software, coded in the basement of her cousin's laundromat on Chicago's South Side, had revolutionized global logistics and predictive algorithms for hospitals. But despite her accolades, Elena knew her presence in certain spaces still made some people uncomfortable. Her being there didn't fit the silent assumptions written into society's blueprint. Just as she reached for her tablet to review notes for her upcoming keynote at the Zurich Innovation Summit, a soft knock on the side of her seat startled her. A young flight attendant, neat in her uniform, leaned slightly toward her with a rehearsed smile. "Excuse me, ma'am," she began, the words already curling in a way that didn't feel casual. "I hope you're enjoying your seat so far. We actually have a small request." Elena tilted her head, polite. "Sure. What is it?" "There's another guest who prefers this seat. He's a longtime VIP with our airline and typically enjoys a certain level of privacy during flights. We'd like to move you just a few rows back to premium economy. You'd still have excellent service, of course." Elena blinked once. "I'm sorry, did you say move me?" The attendant nodded, still smiling but with a tightness around the eyes. "Yes. It's just a small favor for a high-priority guest." Elena followed the attendant's gaze. Across the aisle, a man in a tailored navy suit with silver cufflinks sat watching. His smirk was barely concealed, his posture smug, almost amused. He raised his eyebrows as if daring her to object. "I booked this seat weeks ago," Elena replied evenly. "It was paid for in full." The attendant's smile faltered just a fraction. "Yes, of course. But the gentleman prefers I not sit here." Elena finished for her, voice quiet but firm. "Is that it?" The young woman shifted her weight awkwardly. "Ma'am, please don't make this into something it's not." Elena studied her for a long second. Then, without raising her voice, without so much as a frown, she reached into her coat and pulled out her phone. She pressed one button. The call rang once. "William," she said calmly into the receiver. "It's Elena. I need you to ground flight 428 until we have a conversation with the airline board. I'm experiencing what appears to be racial profiling by the flight staff." She glanced up at the attendant. "Yes. First class. Seat 1A. Document everything. And call the chairman. He still owes me a favor from the Zurich merger." She ended the call and returned her phone to her pocket, as if she'd just ordered tea. Silence. The flight attendant's face drained of all color. I didn't mean." "You did," Elena said, her tone still calm. "But that's all right. You won't have to explain it to me." Within minutes, everything shifted. The captain emerged from the cockpit and made his way to Elena's seat with a deep, apologetic expression etched across his weathered face. "Ms. Price," he said with a respectful nod, "I've been advised there was a misunderstanding. Please remain in your seat. We've been instructed to delay takeoff while executives prepare to speak with you directly." The man in the tailored suit tried to pretend he wasn't involved, but it was no use. He was quietly escorted off the plane, followed by the flight attendant and the lead cabin supervisor who had attempted to smooth things over, with faux politeness just moments earlier. Passengers whispered. Some looked down, some looked away. A few reached out with silent nods of approval. Elena said nothing. She didn't need to. By the time the flight finally departed, an hour behind schedule, the atmosphere on board had shifted. A stillness, a reckoning, hung in the air. The story broke before the wheels even touched the tarmac in Zurich. The headline read, "Black Tech CEO refuses to give up first-class seat." Entire flight staff terminated for profiling. It spread fast. Within 12 hours, major networks were airing segments about the incident. Corporate accountability experts weighed in. Social media erupted. Prominent figures shared their own stories of microaggressions in elite spaces. But it wasn't just outrage that carried the news. It was the poise with which Elena Price had responded. The CEO of the airline appeared on national television the next evening, offering a formal apology. He confirmed the flight crew's dismissal, promised an internal investigation, and announced sweeping reforms, including mandatory anti-bias training, new executive oversight, and a commitment to promote more diverse leadership within the company. Elena never granted a single interview. She declined every talk show, every panel request, every op-ed invitation. She didn't need to speak. Because 3 days later, when she stepped on stage at the Zurich Innovation Summit in front of 2,000 industry leaders, the room rose to its feet. It wasn't just for the award, though the prize for Global AI Innovator of the Year was nothing short of extraordinary. It was for the quiet strength she had demonstrated in an environment that had tried to humiliate her. Elena stood in her simple navy dress, heels low, makeup natural. She looked out at the crowd and offered a calm smile, the kind that didn't ask for applause but still received it. Not a smile of revenge, not even vindication, but of dignity. And as she accepted her award and returned to her seat, the world saw more than just a tech genius. They saw what it meant to take a stand without raising your voice, to own your space without apology, to rewrite, not just code, but the unspoken rules of who belongs where. Because Elena Price didn't need a podium to lead. She led by sitting still, and in doing so, reminded the world that sometimes the most revolutionary act is simply refusing to be moved.